Eagles. Eagles.
Welcome in, everybody, to a Football Friday edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports. I'm your host, Zander Krause. That's my co-host, John McMullen. 1 day removed from the great Thanksgiving holiday. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. John, how you doing on this Football Friday, my friend? Hope you had a great Thanksgiving yesterday.
Yeah, uneventful. So that's a big plus for me. Hope everybody had a good time with their friends, family, whatever you were doing. Maybe you caught some football, maybe you didn't. Some pretty good games, pretty important games yesterday. So that was a positive because sometimes you get these Thanksgiving Day stinkers and you want to get away from them. But pretty good football day, I would say, overall.
Yeah, what'd you make of the game? Obviously, Cowboys got a big win over the Chiefs. So a lot of activity in that game. Obviously, the Packers looked pretty good over that Lions team. That Lions team taking a step back. Those injuries have kind of piled up and really taken its toll on that team a little bit. John, would you make it the couple game? I know we had the night game as well, but that's obviously less consequential for the Eagles as two AFC battles. But what'd you make of those first two games? The Lions, Packers, and then Chiefs.
Those two were the most interesting. Lions-Packers was a good game, although the Packers seemed to have control, even though it wasn't that that big of a blowout. They seemed to have control throughout. I thought they played well, as you mentioned with Detroit. They're just not the same. I mean, they lose St. Brown early in that game, so on top of already not having, they're completely not the same team. And I think you saw at the ironic part. I always go back to Super Bowl 52 with the Eagles. They had such a huge advantage because they were ahead of the curve when they were so much more aggressive than everybody else. And then the Lions took it to another level. And I find it ironic the Packers beat them by playing like the Lions. Like they weren't giving up that football at the end of the game, up 7, and they went for it on 4th down, won the game. And the Lions keep failing on 4th down. It's kind of flipped. And they're failing on 4th down because they don't have their players. So it's, when Laporta and St. Brown are out there with Jahmyr Gibbs and
you called that when Laporta went down, you said this is a big loss for this team.
Yeah. He was like their security blanket on 3rd and 4th down. So, when you don't have those, all of a sudden those, and you saw it when they played the Eagles as well. I think they were 0 for 5. All of a sudden, those 4th downs aren't helping you, and they help Green Bay. And then Dallas I can't help but chuckle about Dallas, Kansas City from the perspective of there were a bunch of ticky-tack PI calls, and I don't like them because I'm always more of a defensive guy because I think they're hamstrung.
It was a little much. It was a little much yesterday.
I thought so. I agree with that. And everybody, they're for the Cowboys, and I'm like, look at who they're playing. The Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah. And all I've heard for the past day, everything's Chiefs, everything's Chiefs. And all, I mean, it's like, why watch these games if all you're going to do is, I get it. Like I said, I thought they were too ticky-tack, but I mean, bottom line is those two receivers are freaking good.
Yeah.
At least CD's good when he's not playing the Eagles. And George Pickens is having a phenomenal year. He made
that's a different defense too, man. Look, I get it, your take on Micah, and I don't necessarily disagree with it, but they've done a good job at building up the interior of that defensive line to at least give that defense a better chance to play in and play out.
Well, I think they've gotten better. I still don't think it's a strength, but they've certainly gotten better with the addition of Quinnen Williams. I think they're up. The third game, which was less impactful, was at least for Cincinnati, from the standpoint of, although in that division, they might not be out of it. So Joe Burrow returns. Yeah, 4-8. So they come into that game 3-8. Joe Burrow returns. Number one, I love I don't know if you saw the question pregame, and it was like, why are you coming back? You don't have a chance to make the play. That's the mentality I can't stand. It's like, and Joe Burrow took it that same way. He's like looking, it's like, I get paid a lot of money to play a children's game and entertain people and blah blah blah. I thought it was a phenomenal perspective. It's like, if you're healthy, you play. That's just the way it is, and it always has been. But I see that shifting now, where it's, I always call it the Ricky Bobby rules, where it's, if you don't have a chance to win the whole, your season's lost. I'm like, you still got to evaluate players. You can't evaluate players without the starting quarterback. Point I'm trying to make, though, on the field is Joe Burrow returns, and they've had the worst defense in the NFL, and all of a sudden they're amped up and they're playing and they're better. Like, this game is so. You hear me talk about it all the time, Sam. People talk, and we're going to talk about numbers today. We have to talk about. I get it, but this game, like, the quarterback has an impact on the defense. How? It's not real. It's not. He's not on the field with them, but they play a different style of football because of the quarterback they have, and all of a sudden they're much more credible defensively, and they go win a game on the road, and Baltimore, who, isn't what I thought they would be. And
Lamar Jackson doesn't look like the same guy.
No, he had a bad game, rare bad game for him.
I think it's a couple in a row now, right? He's had a few bad games since he returned.
Since he's come back, he hasn't looked, maybe it's rust, whatever.
Yeah, right.
He was out for a while, but I still think they're the best team in that division, but bottom line is they're not a good team. Pittsburgh's not a good team. So why not the Bengals? If they run the table, they'd have to run the table. And they're much more credible. They're the worst defense in the NFL. They're giving up the most points, the most yards, and all of a sudden Joe Burrow's back, and they're like, hey, we got a chance. The impact when you have bad quarterback play on the rest of the team is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Because you just start looking for the other shoe to drop, and it's just human nature more than anything else. But so I thought, number one, Joe Burrow being back, even though, well, why are you coming back? You don't have a chance. God, I hate that mentality.
I know you do. You've always said that.
You can't play football that way. You can't. Like, load management. You can't play football.
It's like the example earlier in the year when people are like, just tell Landon to sit, and you're like, guys, he's not, he's not doing that.
Yeah.
It's not yet.
Yeah. So
I had a classic. I had a classic Thanksgiving family inner debate yesterday around the football, because my uncle is not a huge football fan. He's like an engineer, but he does watch football. He watches the Eagles, obviously. And my cousin's husband is a massive Jalenite. So they were going at it because my uncle was like, yeah, watch Mahomes. That's how a quarterback should play football. I'm like, oh God, don't even get me involved in this. But John, what do you make of the Cowboys, man? They're humming 3 straight. They beat the Raiders. Now they beat the Eagles and the Chiefs. You mentioned those 2 receivers. I think their defense has gotten better. You hear Cowboy fans, they're like, we're in this thing.
Well, they're in it.
Think of it. Do you think? How do you think it plays out? Give me the John McMullen perspective on the Cowboy team at this point.
Well, the hole was pretty big. If it was in the AFC, it'd be a little bit easier, but the hole was pretty big. So they have a bunch of teams they have to jump over still if they're going to make the playoffs. But they have a big game. I think they're playing the Lions. They have to beat the Lions. If they don't beat the Lions, they're so they have a very small margin of error because of the hole they dug. But yeah, that's a team that everybody's looking at and probably said, I don't know if we want to play them in the playoffs because they're so good offensively. And if they have a defensive day where it's, and they're getting better there, and a defensive above average day, shall we say, they can beat anybody because of those receivers. And the running game has been tremendous as well. And it all starts with the quarterback, who is not going to win an MVP, but he should be in the conversation. And I shouldn't say not, because if they make that late run to the playoffs, you never know. But he's having Dak Prescott. I know people hate to hear that, but he's having a tremendous year.
Yes, he is.
And I've talked, I don't know what happened to George Pickens, man. But that guy, I guess contract year, whatever.
Well, I saw some Eagle fan tweeted at me, look at how much Pickens elevates Dak. And I'm like, really? I think it's the other way around. I mean, with all due respect, Pickens is a great receiver, but he wasn't doing this in Pittsburgh. No way.
No, but he's playing much better. But I agree
He's
with your
playing much
premise.
better, but isn't it?
It's
I guess it's a chicken and
it's
the egg.
very hard for a receiver to elevate a quarterback. I mean, very hard, as you see with Justin Jefferson, most notably this season, as Jamar Chase, while Joe Burrow was out this season. Those are arguably the two best receivers in football, and they still are. It is very hard to elevate a quarterback at that position. That's part of the. That's why I never put those guys in the best overall player conversation, very rarely, because they're too dependent on a quarterback to a vehicle, as I say, to get them the football. It's just the nature of that position. That's why so many of them get frustrated. But that's saying individually the way he's playing, and I've said it for a number of weeks. He's been one of the best receivers in football. And other than the kid in Seattle, you can make a strong argument that he's better than anybody else right now, including CD Lamb. He's having a tremendous season, George Pickens.
No doubt.
And it's a contract year. Maybe it's just that.
Yeah, could be that too. But he does look good, and that's the here and the now. So interesting. Cowboys moved to 6-5-1. Which, kind of makes today's game more interesting for the Eagles. We'll shift to that Eagle game right now. It's a Black Friday, everybody. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Don't forget to hit that like button this morning. Drop your comments down below. Game coming up 3 p.m. Eastern today. I know we don't normally get an Eagles game on a Friday, so it feels a little goofy, but we do have one.
That third straight year for Vic Fangio playing on a Friday. We know
right.
that
He didn't even realize it. But good stuff there. John, the game today, both teams 8-3. Bears offense is 6th overall, 2nd in the rush game, 12th in the pass game, 8th in scoring. Their defense, a shoddy defense at best. Overall, they're 27th. In the rush game, they're 28th. The Saquon get going. In the pass game, they're 21st. Scoring, they are 27th. Then you flip over to the Eagles. You got the Eagles offense is 24th overall, 21st in the rush game, 23rd in the pass game, 17th in the scoring. And Eagles defense is 20th overall, 19th in the rush game, 22nd in the pass game, 8th in the scoring. And then this is interesting, John. Turnover differential. The Bears are plus 16 right now. Eagles are plus 6. What do you make, John? Just your macro thought on this game. Eagles, Bears, the battle of 2 8-3 teams in Philly today.
Well, I think we should start with the weather. It is cold. It is, let's see, I'm looking it up right now. It is 32. It feels like 23 because the wind gusts are up to 30. It's supposed to get windier as the day goes on.
So we're going to have another wind game here.
Yep. I say this because of what happened with Green Bay and Detroit. I don't think this is going to be the day to get the passing game going. But we'll see how that shakes out. So you mentioned the turnovers. That to me is what it's about, because the Bears defense, now they're getting Jalen Johnson back today. They're getting Kyler Gordon back today. To me, Johnson, he's one of the best 5 corners in football. He's a tremendous player, but hasn't played all season. Either is Gordon for the most part. So while they're back, there's going to be some rust, so I'm not concerned about that. The big issue on defense for the Bears, amongst the fact that they're just not tremendous, except they take the ball away. They're down both their starting linebackers. Our old friend TJ Edwards, who's still playing at a high level in Chicago, and Tremaine Edmonds is now out for the season on injured reserve. So they have very good linebackers. That's typically the strength of their team. And they're both out.
3 of them? Or 2 of them?
Noah Sewell's out as well. He's not even that good. So good luck. They're down to the Lions levels of playing linebackers. You're going to see a bunch of backup guys who shouldn't be on the field. So if you can't get the running game going in this one, I don't know, because they don't have a dominant player up front either, with like you saw with Quinnen Williams and what he's been able to do. Their best player's Montez Sweat, but he's an edge guy. So you should be able to do some things when it comes to moving the line of scrimmage on paper. And then the turnover, that to me, it's strength versus strength. The Bears take it away, the Eagles don't turn it over. So which one happens? Which one's if the Bears don't take it away on defense, it's going to be a tough day for them.
I agree.
And that's kind of how I look at this game. But the Eagles offense, it's interesting because we were having this discussion in the media house between a number of us. Ben Johnson's on the camp of it, and he mentioned for the football nerds out there, EPA, expected points added, is sort of like the statistic. It's sort of like the WAR, sort of like the advanced statistic most people look at. And if you look at EPA, the Eagles are down 144% efficiency in the run game. They're down 37% efficiency in the pass game, which is bad enough. They're down 88% overall. In other words, the offense stinks.
Yeah.
But 144% in the running game from where they were last year.
Yeah. Down 37% is no small number either. It's just small in contrast to 144.
Exactly. No, you wouldn't be happy with 37.
Yeah.
But also the Eagles are still.
Isn't that you said the passing game's down that much in efficiency?
37. Yeah. Now they're still above water. They're still like 12th in the NFL in passing efficiency, shockingly enough. They're still their heads above water. There were only, I believe, 12 teams in the NFL that had a positive EPA in the rushing game last year as a whole. There's a bunch more in the passing game because it's easier to pass the ball. The Eagles obviously were near the top of the list, and now they're 21st. And again, they're getting a negative EPA in the running game. They're still getting a positive EPA in the passing game, just not as good. And overall, it's because of the running game. It's the running game. And if the running game, if they could figure it out to the point, again, it's not going to be what it was last year. That dog's gone. I mean, that's gone. But it can't be one of the worst in the NFL. And that's what it has been at times this season, which is ridiculous.
It's crazy. It really is crazy, the level of drop off. Well, John, I mean, if you factor in today that the weather will impact both offenses to the same degree, to me, that would be advantage Eagles, right? Because the Bears are a better offensive team than defensive team. The Eagles are vice versa, a better defensive team than offensive team. So if it becomes a defensive battle, where points are at a premium and the wind has an impact on offenses and throwing the football, it feels to me like that would be an advantage for the Eagles. Do you agree with that, or how do you see it?
Yeah, I mean, well, the Bears are a cold weather team as well, so I don't think they're going to melt or anything in the weather, but they're used to playing in this type of stuff. But in a weird way, like as strange as it sounds, and it speaks to the Tank Bigsby people, and I think it's hilarious that people think they should bench Saquon Barkley. And I'm not saying it's a lot of people, but I've heard it from a few wing nuts. But then I look at a game like this and I say, well, would I rather have DeAndre Swift and the kid from Rutgers, who's turning into their sort of Temu, Sonic and Thunder, maybe this year, even though on paper, I'm always going to default to Saquon over good but not great players. He's just not having a good year. And time is running out before he can turn that around. So I don't know if it's the advantage you think. Like, there's not much discussion there. Would you rather have Saquon or DeAndre Swift? And why can't I think of his name? Man, the kid from Rutgers.
Oh, Mungai or Monungai or however you pronounce it.
Monungai. Yeah, thank you. Brain fart. Would you rather have Saquon Barkley or those two? I'd say 100% of the time I'm going to say Saquon Barkley. Is that fair to that duo this year? Probably not. I mean, they've probably been more effective. Not probably. They've definitely been more effective. So in this season, if you ignore the history and prior seasons, I mean, this season, that duo is playing better than the Eagles. So, you can't dismiss that.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, And John, how much do you think this has become a little bit of I don't want to say it's a must win because it's absolutely not a must win. But the Cowboys are creeping with 3 straight wins now in that NFC East. I mean, if the hypothetical was the Eagles lost a game today, they would be 8-4 with only 1 less loss than the Cowboys, who I know are sitting at 6-5-1. But that tie could, interestingly enough, it could hurt them or it could help them depending on how the records fall. How close are we to must-win territory for the Eagles to get back on track here?
Well, like you said, I mean, it's definitely not a must-win, but it's not going to make them feel comfortable if they lose the game. And Dallas, I mean, to me, the loss column is always the one to look at. You're only 1 game ahead of the loss column, and you split. So, then it'll come down to how poorly you play the rest of the season. Now, on paper, the schedule looks pretty easy. The Chargers, tough game looks on paper, but then you start thinking, well, they don't have their tackles. They've not been playing the same. The Raiders are just a disaster. The Commanders, you play them twice. They're a disaster. And we've talked about Buffalo a lot. December 28th at Buffalo. That's a tough game on paper, but who knows if the Bills are playing, who knows how that shakes out. In theory, you would think they'd have to because New England's having a great season. So that's the one game you look at and say, that might be a tough one. So I still think the schedule is pretty light for the Eagles the rest of the way. But yeah, it would help if they won this game. If they lose this game, that's 2 in a row. You lose a game at home. Again, they lost earlier to Denver at home. So typically they've been lights out at home. So if you start to lose that sort of aura, that I think impacts you. So it would be interesting.
Be a must win for the NFC East, but I feel like it might be a must win for the NFC, considering that there's like 3 teams.
Well, the number 1 seed
have like 7 and 8 wins. You know what I mean? The NFC seeding is tough.
Yeah, if you're looking at just the number 1 seed, again, the all or nothing mentality. It's about you always, they can't afford another loss if you're only talking about the number 1 seed. But the goal is to get to the playoffs and be playing your best in the playoffs. And as they proved last year, hey, they didn't have the number 1 seed, and they ended up having the number 1 seed because Detroit lost. So you never know.
Yep. John, let's get into the matchups in the game here. Some of the intra matchups for the players and, who lines up on who and where the game is won and lost. Many times that's the trenches. We'll get there as well. John, I'll come to you before I give you some of the matchups I have written down that I want to talk to you about. When you think about this game, Bears, Eagles, where do you see the key matchups? Like, I think Ben Johnson versus Vic Fangio is obviously a key one. And then you have obviously player matchups. What matchups stick out to you, John, in this game?
Yeah, well, Ben's a good one because he's sort of the guy, the offensive guru in the modern NFL, and he's going to get shut down by Vic.
Is that your prediction?
Yeah, it always happens. It's just from the standpoint of, not, again, it's about players first, but about, putting your players in the best position to succeed. I'm pretty confident Vic's going to win that battle, but it'll be, I think the perception is otherwise, but we'll see how that shakes out. I don't think, I think you saw, and this is a problem with the Cowboys as well. I think that's the kind of team that can give the Eagles struggles because they can throw the football so well. I don't think Chicago's at that point from a consistency level. So I think that part of it is that part of it helps the Eagles. They can make plays, and I think there's going to be 3-4 plays in this game where your jaw drops and you say, how did Caleb Williams do that? But I don't think the consistency from play to play is there. And there might be guys open down the field he misses, especially with the wind. So I think that's going to help you out. But it's hard to get off the offense because it's just such a disaster area. And it's not helping that. Now, Devontae Smith, we should have started with that. He's going to play. He's back. He's off the injury report. Saquon, obviously, they managed through the week, and he's ready to go. So the only two players they're missing are Lane Johnson, Xavier Gibson, Miles Hinton still in his practice window. By the way, the Willie Lampkin fans are disappointed. His practice window is up. They didn't activate him. He's done for the season. So, those are the players you're not going to have. And Lane's a big deal. I mean, Fred did not play well in Dallas. Did not play well. Cam did not play well. And he's going to play. So
Cam, I think, was the worst game of the season in terms of grading wise last week.
Yeah, he did not play well. Now, again, he's not dealing with Quinnen Williams. You got to pay attention to the other side, which is too often ignored. And he doesn't have to deal with that this week. So that alone, I think, will help him. Fred, it's a backup player. I don't. There's this myth that is grown about Fred Johnson, like, oh, it's not a problem. You lose Lane Johnson.
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Panic about it. Do whatever you have to do. It ain't the same. And it's not the same from the, think about the, more than any other team, the Eagles in a given day help their tackles less than anybody else. And I mean that. 32 of 32. They're number one. They do not help their tackles. The rare exception if Mike is out there or Miles is out there. I mean, and that is an incredible luxury. So if you want to add to the Nick Sirianni's a bozo and Kevin Patullo's a bozo, add that to the list because that's big. Most teams have to deal with helping their tackles. The Eagles don't even have to deal with that typically. Now, the bozos have to deal with helping Fred Johnson on top of the fact of figuring out. Now, the good news from that perspective is the Bears don't have great pass rushers.
Yeah.
So
they don't really have a great defensive line kind of all throughout, John. They don't really have great interior players.
No,
either.
Montez Sweat's a good player, but
he's playing well.
And he's a big bat down guy. Like he's huge. He's got the long wingspan. So you got to watch batted balls. And that might, that's a big part of turnovers. You saw it last night if you lasted to the Baltimore game. Lamar got an interception on a batted ball, just flutters in the middle of the field. You got to be careful with that. Other than that, man, that defensive front is like, ugh. That's where they need to add in the offseason. Like if they would have got Micah Parsons, imagine where they would be. but you know.
So what is the expectation, John, for the offense then today? They've obviously struggled. You know, you just gave out the EPA numbers, which are, you know, pretty bad considering what they were a year ago and how well they ran the ball, and the efficiency in the passing game even last year was much better than it's been this year, despite the statistical improvement from the passing game so far. What's the expectation then for the offense today with the weather, with a crappy Bears defense? They do have those two secondary players that are intercepting people left and right, Nashawn Wright and Kevin Byard. Obviously, Kevin Byard spent a little bit of time here in Philly, but they both have 5 interceptions, and the Chicago has the NFL best 24 takeaways. What is the expectation for the Eagles offense today on Black Friday?
Well, I don't think it's going to be an offensive game. I think partially the weather will, you know, lend to that, similar to, you know, what happened against Green Bay, what happened against Detroit, both weather games. I think you're going to see the same thing today. Ironically, short term, I think it might hurt them because the Bears, getting Jalen Johnson back, and like everybody's like, oh, they got Jalen. Everybody in Chicago is all excited. And I always point, the guy's been out the entire season. You don't think there's going to be any rust, any ramp up period? And meanwhile, guess who's going to sit if you're playing Jalen Johnson a whole bunch? Nashawn Wright.
How much do you expect Jalen Johnson to play today? It can't be too much.
Well, I don't know. That's the point, though. You know, everybody in Chicago is excited about it. I mean, that could hurt you in the short term. Long term, it's going to help you. It's one of the best cornerbacks in football. But then you got to have that. So where do you want to go? It's the old Jim Schwartz ramp-up conversation.
I don't know. You feel like you in a game where points might be a premium and turnovers might be paramount, you might want to get Nashawn Wright on the field. Is that crazy to say?
Well, that's the kind of point. It's like Saquon Tank here.
Right.
Now, Jalen Johnson is a Saquon, but he's legit top 10 corner in the NFL. Legit. And you got to get him on the field. And Kyler Gordon, by the way, is one of the best slot cornerbacks in the NFL. At one point, had the highest contract. He might still. I don't know if anybody passed him.
But did the guy in Houston pass him?
Yeah, I think you're right. Petrie passed him.
Yeah.
So, but the point is, he's top rung at the position, top 5. He's played 81 snaps all season, but he's coming back, and Nick McLeod has been playing the slot. He's not very good, so but Nashawn Wright isn't very good, but he's taking the football away. You know, what do you do? You know, maybe the win helps you today anyway, because I don't think the passing attack is going to be humming on for either side. If it's going to be 40-mile-an-hour winds, which is what they're predicting.
Is that what it got up to? I didn't see that high. I didn't look yesterday, but I thought.
No, well, it wasn't as windy. It's getting windy today. It's getting windier today. The wind at 10 a.m., it's not even at the level it's going to. And then 3 p.m., I think it's supposed to it's supposed to lessen a bit as the game goes on. But
okay, that's good.
But that's what they said last time, and it didn't. You know, inside the stadium's worse, I think, than outside.
Yeah, it almost makes like a wind tunnel in there. Yeah.
So because they said the same thing last time, and it never let up. So, you know, you never know with weather, but it's going to be windy. It already is windy if you're in the area, and it's going to get windier. And right now, I'm looking at it right now. It's 33 out, but it feels like 24 because of the wind.
Yeah, so it's going to be chilly. It's going to be windy. It could be another slugfest of a game. It could be another Eagle primetime stinker for the national audience. We will see. John, what do you make of the Eagles secondary today? Andrew Makuba is obviously out after he had surgery this week on a fractured ankle. or what ankle, right? Not foot. It was the ankle, right?
Ankle, yeah.
Yeah, fractured ankle. They got Roma Dunze. They got DJ Moore. Those two guys have combined for 1,138 yards and 9 touchdowns this year. They've been kind of a big play offense. They got 87 plays 87 plays this season with runs at 10 plus yards or passes of 20 plus yards. So they've been pretty good in the explosive play battle, John. Something they kind of sounds like the Eagles, right? Where they win the turnover battle and they get a lot of explosive plays. It's better in the secondary than we thought. Reed Blankenship's out there. Adoree Jackson will be good to go. What do you make of that secondary and matching up versus those, Bears pass catchers today?
Yeah, the same thing. I mean, it's going to have a huge effect on the Bears as well. And Caleb isn't the most accurate quarterback in pristine conditions, so I don't think he's going to turn into Joe Montana with 40-mile-an-hour winds. So I think that's going to help. A little bit worried about blown stuff with Sydney, but I mean, if you ask Vic, Drew was blowing some coverages as well as a rookie. So it could have been much worse. I'd be more concerned if Reed wasn't out there and Adoree wasn't out there, and you had 3. Because at the beginning of the week, it was looking like you might have 3 starters down in the secondary. Now to have 1, I think is
much better than we thought.
Yeah, exactly. But the last 4 games the Bears have played, Steelers, they were home. Caleb was at 54.3%, I think. Vikings on the road, he was 50, which is brutal because that's in a controlled environment. Giants 55, Bengals 58. So not the most accurate quarterback in the world, and I don't think the wind is going to help that. Yeah, maybe it blows it to the receivers. I don't know. Who knows?
Maybe it does, John. John, we'll see what happens with that. John, we mentioned the Bears secondary in the game, and obviously their ability to get interceptions. I think they have 16 total interceptions this year, which is a big number, guys. 24 total takeaways. But you also have Jalen Hurts and the Eagles offense, who is, I guess you could call him one of the stingiest offenses and quarterbacks in the league, just in the way that they protect the football. Jalen leads the NFL with a 25-3 touchdown to turnover ratio this season, which is pretty amazing. But I wonder how much of an impact that's going to be today, how much Jalen and the Eagles offense are trying to push the ball, or how much they need to push the ball. I guess that will come down to how much Saquon Barkley can run today.
Yeah, because of that wind, I would say get the running game going, but it's hard to imagine them getting the running game going. So we're going to see where the rubber meets the road there. I can't see this being.
They're an awful run defense, man. I feel like they should be able to run the ball today.
Well, they should. They should. I mean, they should. Yeah. I mean, they should be able to run the ball. You shouldn't go from the best rushing attack, literally one of the best running attacks in NFL history,
which is crazy,
to being what they are right now. But they are. I mean, it's not good. So and you don't have Lane Johnson, and you have Cam Jurgens, who's clearly not playing at the level he's accustomed to. Same thing with Landon Dickerson. So it's been an issue, but this is a team on paper they should be able to run the football against. There's no doubt on paper. Yes, they should. But have they run the football against anybody?
I guess the Giants, right? They ran the ball well versus the Giants. Is that the only game?
I think that's the only game. Yeah. So.
Well, this is where I think I'd like to see Jalen run the ball a little bit more. I mean, it almost feels like it's now a necessity because Saquon's not running well. The team, I think I put out the stat the other day, the team is 6-0, John, when they have over 100 rushing yards as a team. So they got to run the football, man. I mean, you got to run the football. And if Jalen's the one who's got to do it, shit, that I'm saying he should go and do it, because we all certainly know he's capable. They're 5-0 when they rush for 100+ yards this year, and they're 3-3 when they don't. So they've also won a game where they haven't had great running numbers, but obviously you want to get the run game going. And I think if Jalen takes off and helps that, I think that would maybe open some things up for the offense as a whole.
Well, if it were only that simple,
Yeah,
line it up. You got 60 offensive plays. If you run it 60 times, you're going to get over 100, but you're not going to win the game. So that to me is the classic, causation argument. So, correlation does not imply causation. And that's the point. You can't just say, well, if we run for 100 yards, we're going to win the football game. Otherwise, everybody would just do what I just said.
Yeah, right.
So that to me is more of a circumstance of the game stat. And obviously, when you're playing well and when you're going to win games, that number increases. Never increases. I've said this. You'll see the playoff teams, and somebody out there will go, all the playoff teams are in the top 10 in rushing. Every year they do it. They fall in that trap.
I know they do it. And John, you've opened my eyes to some of this shit where I can't even see it anymore. I see it and I'm like, duh, because they're winning all their games.
I mean, it to me, it's like the most obvious thing in the world, but you got to get over the hump.
Yeah, right.
And I get it. I mean, that's why you got to be very careful with numbers, because, and that's the simplest way to describe it. Correlation can be a direct influence on something, the causation, but it doesn't necessarily imply it. And that's the case in football. Good teams have good rushing numbers because they're generally closing out games.
Right.
And that's where the tip of it tips in the other direction. So
yeah, no doubt. John, coming into this game, offensive line, we just talked about it. Obviously, Cam Jurgens hasn't really played well. Fred Johnson is Fred Johnson. Let's not act like he's Lane Johnson there, or his brother. So that's a struggle. How much of it do you put on the offensive line here with this run? I know we've talked about it, kind of gotten in depth of where the problems lie and why football is never one thing, and there's always nuance to problems, but how much of it do you put on the run game? And then do you expect maybe a little bit more of a switch up? Will they try and use Tank Bigsby just a little bit more? I'm not saying bench Saquon, but do you try and get him 6-7 carries a game to maybe see if he can get a spark or something like that? How do you kind of gauge that? And do you think a change in some realm could be coming?
Well, I don't think a change from the standpoint, because remember, I think everybody looked at last week, and that's, they didn't run the ball at all. So Saquon only touched it, I think, ran it 10 times.
Yeah, which is crazy.
And Tank ran it once, and he had a pretty effective run. It's been the case. But, you take Jalen out of the equation, because he actually ran it 7 times. They ran the football 11 times in that game. So if you run the football 11 times, I'm surprised it wasn't for 11 for 11, to be honest with you. Now, if it starts rolling and you're effective, and Saquon's going to carry it 23 times, then yeah, Tank's probably going to get 5, 6, 7, and people are going to go, see, well, again, the same conversation we had. If you're only going to run the ball 11 times, it's going to be all Saquon. No need to go to someone else. So in this game, again, with the weather and the cold and all that, it's probably going to be more of a running game. Definitely going to be more of a running game than it was indoors in Dallas. So you're going to be back up to the normal levels. So probably get a few more carries, and we'll see if he's more effective again. And if he is, that's a difficult conversation to have, because I can't explain Saquon right now. I wish I could. I think they wish they could. They don't want to believe he's descending. you know, another passionate defensive end by Nick Sirianni on
I
whatever
think
day.
another thing there exists though too at the O line, right? Like people don't want to believe that offensive line's not that good. Jeff Stoutland has the lure that he has. They've been at the top. It's been the bread and butter of our team, John, for how many years? 10 plus, 15 years. I mean, maybe even longer. I mean, I can't remember the last time we were outside the top 10 in the offensive line rankings.
Yeah, it's been the
maybe
strength.
2020 when they all got hurt.
Doug's last season.
Yeah.
That's probably the last time, and it was injury related. And I think it's injury related this year too. I still think they have one of the best offensive lines if they're healthy, but they're not healthy.
Yeah, the problem with the injuries this year is that I don't know how much of them are like. Are you at a point with these injuries where you're just not going to get back to what they were? You know what I mean? It's not like it's an ankle and you're waiting for him to get better for Cam. Like the back injury, I'm like, I don't know if Cam will ever return to the player we thought he could be.
Yeah, I'm more concerned with Cam than Landon from the perspective of Landon is, because it's so much, maybe he never gets back.
His ass off, yeah.
Maybe he never gets back to what he was, 3 consecutive Pro Bowls. Shockingly, never been an All-Pro, should have been, but I don't know if he ever gets back to that level, but you can still win with Landon Dickerson at the level he's playing at. Right now, you can't win with the level Cam Jurgens is playing at and Fred Johnson's playing at. So those are the two glaring weaknesses. And when Lane gets back, he'll fix the one at least, but we have to see how healthy he is again, because he's going to push back earlier than expected. Already is. And that but for the offense as a whole, I don't think it's just the offensive line, just Saquon. I see a whole bunch of descending players. That's what I see.
I know you've been saying this, but the thing I'm struggling with it is, John, is I feel like this offense where they've tried to they've almost like condensed this thing where they have this risk-averse approach. They're not trying to push the ball too much. I feel like it's just taking some life out of the players in a way. I do. Now, I might be wrong. You might be right. We might be talking about players that are, A.J. Brown might have lost a step. Saquon might have lost a step. The offensive line might have, have a toll because of how they played last year. I feel like this offense does not put players in an environment to ascend.
Well, I don't see
hypothetical for you, because I'd be curious to see if and this would never happen. It's simply a hypothetical. If the Cowboys traded for A.J. Brown instead of George Pickens in the offseason, how well would A.J. Brown be doing this year?
I think he'd be doing well. But I also think he doesn't look the same as he has in the past physically, even though he's told me multiple times and other people multiple times he's fine.
Right.
I don't see the same guy. Not that it's a tremendous drop off, but when he's never been a big separation guy because of his size and his physicality. He's never been, Cooper Kupp in his prime running routes. He's a big physical guy who just beats people. And that is when you start to lose even a little bit, then it starts not looking exact. Same thing with Saquon. Just out athletes everybody. Just the best athlete on the field. And you ask scouts and you ask film people and you ask, he doesn't have the best vision in the world. He doesn't have the elite vision. It's all about, well, if you block the hole, Katie bar the door, he's gone. And then when they're not there, then it's like, all right, he's got to cut it back to get 5, and he's running into a brick wall. You go, it doesn't look as good.
Right.
I'm not saying they've fallen off a cliff, but you could see the little chinks in the armor. So when if you put AJ or Devontae in a high volume, I've been saying that for years, they have better numbers. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
So that's why I'm just struggling with the thought process that AJ Brown has lost a step. I'm not saying you're wrong, because it does look like he has in Philly, but I just don't know if it's more of this style and this approach that we've taken.
Well, the style's beating him down, so that's maybe it is that. There's no doubt that that's beating him down, but he's performed better in that same style before. Maybe it's just gotten to the point where it's beating him down further. I can't dismiss that, but for the style of
play too, John. I mean, it's hard to people. I know fans, and I get it, but they're like, AJ Brown doesn't try every play. I'm like, dude, it's hard. You're asking a guy to play 150% every play. The ball doesn't come his way very much. So I don't know.
I went through that with Randy Moss every grade. But first of all, people don't realize, because the only time they put the ISO camera on you is when they think there's a problem, number one. So you can go look at any NFL game. If a receiver, a big time receiver who runs all these routes, and it's even worse in other places, and they're running the football the other way, or the play's going the other way, they're just gonna lollygag off the line of scrimmage, and they're not involved in the play. Right. Why are you gonna and everybody makes a big deal. And when Randy was unhappy, everybody put the ISO camera. He's lazy. He's not running out. It's the same thing. It's over and over and over and over again. So I don't pay much attention to that kind of stuff. I've never seen that with AJ. I don't think that's relevant at all, but that's what people can believe, but what they believe. But yeah. I do think there's some credence to, this offense beating him down. I do think that's real. And I do think if he does leave, you'll see that natural spike of playing in a more exciting offense. I do think that part of it's real.
No doubt about it. All right, John, I'm going to close up this segment and get it posted up on the channel. So I am going to do your prediction for the game today. We will start there. You can give me a couple of your key players, or what you think are the key factors. But I am looking for the Johnny Mac prediction for Black Friday. Eagles, Bears, the battle of 2 8-3 teams, both sitting at the top of the NFC, second and third seeds right now in the NFC.
Yeah, well, the key to me is she won't let go, man. Mother Nature's the key to me. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think, I think the Eagles are going to win the game. I don't think the Bears are ready for this. I think the Packers are going to win the NFC North. It is probably going to get if it's not a defensive touchdown, a short field for a Caleb Williams mistake. That maybe gets the Eagles over 20. So I'm going 23. Eagles 23, Bears 16.
Oh, John, you got to be kidding me, man. I got 23-16. Nice. Both of us got 23-16.
Nice. Eagles. So you know what's going to happen then.
There you go, man.
Play the number.
Back-to-back 23-16 pick for the Eagles. Johnny Mac's picking the Birds. I'm picking the Birds. I'm with John. You've convinced me that, this Bears team while they are 8-3, they do have a lot of problems. And, they've had 5 comeback wins. They've kind of flied by the seat of their pants a little bit. I don't know. You obviously remember. You remember Aaron Schatz, obviously, we've had on the show. He does the DVOA. Yeah. I don't know. How much stock do you put into the DVOA?
Yeah, that's another one. That's a good one.
They're way down. They're way down on DVOA for an 8-3 team, like way down.
Yeah, well, they get outgained every week. They have bad offensive numbers. Yeah, they're down on all that.
Kind of the same though. Like, aren't we this year? Just looking at 25, act like 24 didn't happen for a second. Aren't we kind of that team too? We're 8-3, but we don't look as good as we should at 8-3.
Oh yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. But the difference is, obviously, they're proven. The Eagles are proven. This team has been in the trapper for years. This is new for them. The Eagles have been through the wars, and generally come out on the other side. So some of it is that, no doubt about it. Like I put up, if you asked me who are the best teams in the NFC are right now, I would tell you Rams number 1. I would tell you Packers number 2. And the Eagles beat them both. So, I mean, I'm not going to sit here. Now, the Rams outplayed them, and it was a fluke. And that's part of the DBOA stuff and the EPA stuff. It's a fluke. But they beat them.
Right.
And they always beat them. And the Packers, Micah's doing his thing. Did you see Micah yesterday for all the Micah haters? Unbelievable player. Worst thing ever that Dallas gave him to Green Bay. I said that the day of the trade.
Yeah.
They're looking dominating, but the Eagles always beat them.
It's fair.
They seem to have Jordan Love's number.
They certainly do. Jordan Love, he's a tough player to gauge, man. Sometimes I watch him and I'm like,
he was phenomenal yesterday.
Phenomenal. And sometimes you watch him and you're like, boy, what's he doing?
Well, that's the thing. He's inconsistent. Sometimes
he
shows up and he's like the pitcher with a lot of talent. He shows up and completely shuts you down, or he shows up and he has nothing and he doesn't have the, whatever you want to call it, the grit, the fight through it, whatever. So you're kind of hoping if you get matched up with Green Bay, you're kind of hoping it's one of those days where he's not going to play well. Because if it's a day where he's going to play well, you're fucked. That team's going to go to the Super Bowl.
That's a good team. There's no doubt. Yep, John, interesting stuff. There's our score predictions. You can wrap it up there. Martin, if you're listening to me, you can wrap up that segment there. Appreciate you doing it. John, plenty more to talk about with this team. It is interesting, John. I think my biggest, not my fear, but like my thought process on the game is I've seen this Eagles team take their foot off the gas, and this Bears team is kind of the opposite. They lead the NFL in comeback victories. They have 5 of them. So if the Eagles go into this, take this lead, and that we already saw it last week. Now I don't think the Bears are as capable as the Cowboys to move the ball like Dak was last week, to come back from down 21 and have and have the interception and have some of those things. But I feel like the Bears, if they keep it close, man, this game won't be over until it's over.
Well, yeah, I mean, I do expect, as I said, we both expect a 1-score game. So it's always, hey, is the ball going to bounce the wrong way? And then you have the Caleb effect, who is going to, as I said, he's going to make 4 or 5 plays where your jaw drops and you think you have him, and he extends and does something special. And if that happens in the fourth quarter, I'm not saying the Bears can't beat the Eagles, because they certainly can. But, I don't like counting on that. I guarantee you Ben Johnson doesn't like counting on that, but that's what he's doing.
Yeah, it's true.
It's because that's what he has.
Man, trying to get Caleb to play offense like he probably wants him to play offense.
Well, it's a give and take, too, because you don't want to limit him either.
Yeah, right. The playmaking ability.
Yeah.
We used to say that about Jalen Hurts all the time.
Yeah. So it's tough to go through, especially for coaches who are egomaniacs, and he's one of them. They generally want total control, and to me, if you want that, you should go get a different quarterback. But you can't get a different quarterback because he's playing at the level he's playing, and he's number 1 overall pick, and everybody's excited, and he's starting to show it. And Ben Johnson's probably secretly, when he goes to sleep at night, saying, boy, I wish I had somebody who'd play on schedule.
Yeah, right. Remember, he came from the Goff offense. Goff has his problems, but he is on time. Although Goff looks a little bit like a different player this year. But
well, yeah, magically, when you don't have playmakers, yeah. I mean, I think everybody wants Joe Burrow if he could stay healthy, but can't stay healthy. So I mean, all these guys have flaws. Caleb has a lot of them, but as far as just, it shifted whenever, everything I always say football is the only industry that innovation trickles up. And by that, I mean, at the highest level, they're usually last. It usually starts at high school and then it goes to college and then it moves up to the NFL. It's the exact opposite of most, where the top of the industry is the one doing all the innovation. It started way back when high school coaches figured out, you know what, let's put our best athlete at quarterback. And, in high school, you got a bunch, you got a bunch of guys who might go to college, high level high school. They might go to college, they might go to the pros, and they're playing teams where, their last game is going to be when they're a senior in high school, and it's embarrassing, and you just run around and make plays. And then obviously as you get higher up, it makes it more difficult. Everybody's good in the NFL. But from just a pure athletic standpoint, there's probably not a better quarterback in football than Caleb Williams. Maybe Lamar, but as you've seen with Lamar at this stage,
you're gonna have people are gonna hear that and go crazy. You're gonna have to explain exactly what the hell.
I thought I just did.
You did, but you know how it is, John. People hear 22% of what you say.
Yeah, well, that's their fault. That's not mine. I mean, he's outrageously gifted from an athleticism standpoint, but he doesn't know how to play the position that well. And that's the give and take. You're always trying to get them to a level where they can play the position, but you don't want to take away from this.
Right.
The old good problem to have, but problem is still in that phrase, good problem. Still a problem. Good problem, better than a bad problem.
It's a tough thing to do. It's a tough thing to do. It's a problem because coming up the pipeline, they're never obviously taught, and they're able to rely on so much of that. Caleb could be good.
Those 22%, take that as I said he's the best quarterback. Well, then they're idiots. I can't make people listen. But athletically, as you will see today, he's outrageous.
When you say athletically, though, like when I think athletic, are you talking about arm talent? Or what are you talking about?
Talking about everything. I'm talking about arm talent.
How is he more athletic than Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson?
Oh, he is.
Athletic?
Oh, yeah. I mean, again, I'm talking about everything put together. Like, can they watch him? Well, he'll do it a couple times today where he rolls right and throws a laser 30, 40 yards down the field.
Off platform
with just his arm, like a Jeff George dart, while in a full sprint. He does it a couple times a game. And I'm like, oh, this play's dead. And all of a sudden, it's a 40-yard gain down the field. Nobody else in the world can make that throw. Literally. Nobody else in the world can make that throw.
Isn't that more arm talent?
It is arm talent, but that's part of it. I'm talking about football.
Yeah. So
that's part of it.
I got you.
He's got Jeff George arm talent with. Is he as a purely? I think when again, everything depends on people's definition.
Yeah, right. Like I think athletic, and I don't exactly think that. I more think of like the speed and the shiftiness of Lamar. And I'm like, I don't see that with Caleb. Well, I think I understand where you're going with.
And he's bigger and he's more physical. So he's Lamar. If you're just boiling it down to. He's sort of like half Lamar, half Jalen Hurts. He's got that kind of physicality, not quite as much as Jalen, not quite as much of the pure speed as Lamar, but the best combination, sort of like, in running backs, I got to cover Adrian Peterson. So I never got to cover Jim Brown. I just hear the stories, as old as I am. I just hear the stories about how big and physical and fast Jim Brown was. And one of the GMs told me once that Adrian's the best combination of speed and power since Jim Brown. That's sort of what I'm talking about as the running part of it. He doesn't even run that much.
No, he doesn't. Yeah,
I brought that up earlier this week, and that's another good part to his game that Ben Johnson should like. I don't know if he does, but he should like, because he's always thinking about throwing it before running it, and that's what you want with a quarterback. But when he does run it, he's tough to deal with, man. He's just insanely gifted. But he doesn't know how to play the position,
which isn't even all his fault. But yeah, he doesn't. I feel like the evolution, and this is more of a larger macro, like football perspective, but there's always evolution of the game where you see, players change, quarterbacks change. You've seen it with the way the dual threat quarterbacks have come alive in the NFL. They're, most of them who are drafted now, it feels like the next step of the dual threat is dual threat who has that ability to, sit back and play the position at a high level too. I don't know if that's realistic, but it feels like that would become
I think
a super version of Drake May or something like that, where he can run, he can move, he can get outside the pocket, but they're looking getting through their progressions and reading the defense that way.
Yeah, well, I think the closest, I think Lamar's done that, but he hasn't won a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
so
I agree. Lamar's done that.
Like, he plays the position at a very high level. Maybe not last night, but typically. He plays the position at a very, very high level. He's the closest. And by no means, now you got me thinking about what you said, because everybody's going to say it. By no means is this guy even top 10 NFL quarterbacks. Just saying he's the most gifted, but that doesn't mean anything. Jamarcus Russell was picked number 1 overall way back in the day because he was gifted.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
And there's been one quarterback who's played at a worse level than J.J. McCarthy early in his career, and it was Jamarcus Russell. Anthony Richardson was the 4th pick a couple years ago. Insanely gifted. Can't play. I'm just saying his physical gifts are ridiculous. Caleb Williams can't play the position yet.
What do you think he's going to do today?
I think he's going to struggle. Because I think Vic's defense is going to confuse him at times. I think the weather's going to affect him, the wind in the passing game. I think he's going to struggle. Takes a lot of sacks, not this year, but his rookie year. My God, I have to look up how many sacks he took as his rookie year. They've got him. Ben's doing a good job with him compared to Matt Eberflus. So he's got him, being more cognizant of getting rid of the football on time. But he's susceptible to taking sacks. He fumbles a lot because he's susceptible. He's not, there's a lot of holes. But that's why, and hey, I would have taken Jaden Daniels because I thought he was so much more advanced playing the position. And, there's a back and forth. Obviously, Jaden had a tremendous rookie season. Now he's been injured, and now Caleb is playing well, so it's back and forth. I still take Daniels because he's just so much more advanced. But if Ben can unlock all this, look out.
Maybe he will. Interesting stuff. John, we got a couple super chats we'll read today. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Appreciate all of you for being here. Hit that like button today. A little Football Friday game day. All right, it's a beautiful thing. So appreciate everybody for being here. Well, here's Blaze. What's up, Blaze? Starting to think no back-to-back home games is taking a toll on us, and I never thought it would be a problem. Dallas back-to-back home was perfect.
Well, it was back-to-back home games. Not having back-to-back is certainly a weird anomaly. But one thing I always say about home and away, and you saw it last year with the Eagles, if you're good, you win anywhere. We talk about this stuff ad nauseam, and I get it. We have to. But, last year, I know coming into the season, I was like, boy, that playing in Brazil, giving up a home game in Brazil to Green Bay, that could really bite you in the ass. Well, they went and won out and won the game. They won the game. And when you're really good, doesn't matter where you play, you win. So yeah, the best example is Green Bay, legendary Lambeau Field. How tough is it to go in Lambeau Field? Between Bart Starr and Brett Favre, they didn't have a home field advantage because they stunk. Nobody cared about going to Lambeau. They didn't even care about going to Lambeau. They played half their home schedule in Milwaukee to go get people to get to the games because they stunk. Bad teams don't have a home field advantage in a way. They don't have any advantage because they stink. So generally, that has to do with, other than it's an anomaly. And by the way, the Eagles are still 8-3. It's like a bunch of Chicken Littles in Philadelphia, man. This guy's always falling. It's like they're 8-3. It's Thanksgiving. Now, they're not as good as last year. Okay.
Like how much do you think they are, what their record says?
I think
there's the old saying, you are what you are.
I don't think I'd look at anybody and say the Eagles can't beat that team. No, I don't look at anybody. I
agree with that.
I don't look at the Rams and say they can't beat the Eagles because I think they can, although they haven't proven it. I don't think the Packers, I can't beat the Eagles, although they haven't done it. But so it's much more competitive than it was last year, ended up. And that means, maybe the Rams were the only game last year where they had a chance to bow out, and maybe that goes the opposite direction this year. But there's nobody I look at and say, oh, they can't beat this team.
Yeah. Do you agree with this? Bob says they're 8-3 and trending down.
Well, yeah, I mean, in the micro, yeah, I mean,
because Tom Brady used to say football starts after Thanksgiving. Well, Thanksgiving was yesterday. The Cowboys are getting hot, and the Eagles don't look great right now.
I'd rather be the Eagles than the Cowboys.
Well, no doubt. There's no doubt about that.
Got to put it all into perspective. And if they go out and play well, I mean, people are going to be right back on the bandwagon. Everything's going to be fine. But they have to, granted, they have to do it. I mean, I would be pretty shocked if they lose this game.
And if they did lose this game today, how would it affect your thought process?
Well, you got to tune into the JAKIB. You got to tune into the JAKIB postgame show. You're going to hear some,
And the problem is they're going to win, so I'm not going to ever get that answer. That's why I'm asking for it right now. Yeah. We'll see. Bob, thanks, bro. And Blaze, thank you. Here's Crampsy. Lauren, what's up, Lauren? She says, if we lose, I'm changing my name and address. I'm getting a new passport. I might even consider facial reconstruction surgery. It was great knowing you all. And happy Thanksgiving, Team JAKIB Sports. I love it, Lauren.
About
this team. You should have heard my family at Thanksgiving. It was hilarious. They're breaking out in jail.
Well, I always bring out the old Howard quote. I give Howard credit because if you're scared, go get a dog. But you shouldn't be scared of the Chicago Bears. I always say, don't let a football team determine your mood. So I wouldn't recommend the facial reconstructive surgery.
Yeah, no, Lauren, don't do that. But appreciate the super chat. Here's Fleming. Been away, so sorry if it was discussed, but can we talk about J-Mac justifiably putting Rube in the cuck chair at Fangio's presser? Way to own him, J-Mac.
Yeah, that.
John didn't want to talk about that one.
Yeah, I mean, look, I was unprofessional because he was unprofessional. That's all I'll say. But I apologize to the Eagles, and I apologize to Vic because I don't want to take time. It's Vic's time. It's not about me. But the only thing I will lean on, I will not apologize for what I did to the individual because I didn't start it. So, if you're not unprofessional to me, I'm not going to be unprofessional to you.
Yeah, I'm whatever. I'll hold my comments off on it because let's just say I'm Team J Mac there. John, how about Nick saying it too? Did you hear that?
Yeah. Oh, I told Nick, come on, stem it down, dude. Yeah, on.
Come on, Nick. All right, Fleming, thanks. Here's Blaze again. Traveling nonstop, especially on short weeks, suck. Yeah, I guess they flew home from Dallas.
Yeah, well, short weeks always suck, but I mean that's the modern NFL. It's even worse for a good team like the Eagles because they're always putting these high-profile spots. But they're used to it. They this has been going on for years with the Eagles. All these weird spots and just part of it. If you're good, you're going to be in these high-profile spots for the most part. Or if you're a large market team, and the Eagles have both. They're good and they're a large market and they have a passionate fan base. So they're always put in these types of spots. Better than the alternative. You could be some of these teams who aren't even playing meaningful football at Thanksgiving. So it could be worse.
Good stuff. All right, here's one more. Jay Zell, what's up? Hope the Bears running up on you clowns. All right, so we got somebody in here that's
got a Bears fan or a Cowboys fan.
I don't know.
I don't think anybody's running up anything on anybody on 40-mile-an-hour winds.
I don't know. I think their running backs are going to be a factor today, big factor.
Well, I mean, they're good. They're not great by any stretch of the imagination. So, I mean, Zach Ball and Nakobe. I'd rather have Zach Ball and Nakobe Dean than whatever Chicago's going to be rolling out there at linebacker. Maybe they can maybe the Jihad can play for them and get some reps.
They're missing a lot of linebackers. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. All right, good stuff there on the super chats. John, I'm gonna let you get out of here a little earlier. That I know you got to get down. I know you have a long day. You got to get out of there. You got to get to Lincoln Financial Field. I'm sure there's a bunch of people tailgating down there and everything like that. So we're gonna get ahead of that. I'm gonna give a programming update for everybody as well. We have obviously Birds 365 on now. John will get out of here in a little bit. Then we have 10 to 12 today. Cilia, host of the National Football Show, will be live with an abbreviated National Football Show from 10 to 12. Then we'll have the pregame show 1:30, games at 3, the halftime show, and the postgame show. So we got you covered all day long here on JAKIB Sports. Appreciate everybody being here. Hit that like button. Jay Zell follows up one more time. Bears 49, Eagles 0. Bald guy doesn't know ball. You can't really say that when you put 49-0, my friend.
Yeah, pretty much. Gel 92 pretty much just clarified that he don't know ball.
Right. All right, John, who do you think the key factors from a player perspective for the Eagles are today? You go into a game last week, I think many thought Jalen Carter. So you could probably use the same damn players every week. But specifically with the way these teams are built, who do you think has a chance to really change the game or make their imprint or make their mark on the game today for the Eagles?
Well, hey, every game's an opportunity, man. But if you're looking at on paper, what matchups favor the Eagles, I think you got to start with the running game because of the linebackers. So they got to get that going. And I think if you're looking at defensively, I think it's a chance for, maybe some plays in the back end, maybe some confusion. Maybe some of that, if you think about Alex Hunt picking off Carson Wentz, that type of play, confusing the quarterback and getting him to turn the football over that way. But I think in the end, I think we're going to be talking about, hey, the defense was pretty good and the offense was not pretty good. And so similar to every other week of the season, but and I think people will ignore the weather like it doesn't exist.
Yeah, I feel like the offense has. I don't know. I feel like they're due, but that weather's stopping me from saying it's going to be today. The offense is weird and they're not very good, but they do have these random games where they look amazing.
Well, they have these random spurts where again, when they
Spurts,
get
right.
that first down, typically they're pretty damn efficient. So they look good in spurts. But there's no consistency whatsoever.
Yeah. All right, John. So the other side, you mentioned those Eagles players. On the other side, if the Bears want to win the game today, who would be their key player? Who do you think would need to really step it up and have a big game for them to be able to do that today?
Well, it's quarterback. I mean, that's the easy one, but that's the quarterback. He's a playmaker, and if he makes a bunch of plays, that's how they're going to upset them. I don't think they're going to do it by running the football. I don't think they're going to do it by dinking and dunking down the field. I think it's going to be about the quarterback pulling 2 or 3 explosive plays out of his what, and lifting his team. And that's probably frustrating to Ben Johnson, but that's probably, or you can try to run Kyle guy all day. I don't know if that's the proper way to go about it.
I'm thinking they're going to dump the ball off to Swift a lot.
Yeah, I don't. Like I said, I don't think the dink and dunk game is going to work because you're going to probably have a 55% completion percentage. So if you're dinking and dunking and it's 3rd and 7, and hey, maybe Adunze's open and he misses them.
Yeah, right.
You're on the field. You're punting the football. So, and that also don't underestimate Ben Johnson as far as aggressiveness. So, once they pass the 45 and it's 4th and short, they're probably going to go for it. So this might be another 4th down game, and who's more successful on 4th down.
No doubt about it. John, prediction from you. Who will be the MVP of the Eagles offense just today?
I'm
going to take Jalen. I think it's got to be Jalen Hurts today.
Yeah, pretty much has to be same thing for there. Yeah. Because of the weather, it's going to limit the passing game. I'm going to go, because I don't want to go the easy route. I'm going to go Saquon Barkley. Going to go some optimism.
I like that.
Go some optimism. They don't have any linebackers.
Yeah,
if he was ever going to show off that he has it, this has got to be the day.
What about Goddard too? I feel like it could be a Goddard day with those linebackers. You get some mismatches on those guys. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure they'll drop safeties.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll have CJ and Kevin Byard. I don't think it'll be a Goddard day, but it may be in the red zone. But it's got to be a Saquon day.
We'll see. All right, John, your final thought here. I'm going to let you get out of here. I know you got a long-ass day on a Black Friday. Hopefully you got your shopping done, or you're saving it for Cyber Monday. I guess they do these. Black Friday isn't what it used to be, right? They used to do
well, I'm interested. I'm interested. I think the traffic's going to be worse than I expect. But
yeah, I think it is too. That's why I'm like, you might have to get the out of here. Plus, with the tailgating down there, I'm sure is going to be crazy. Everybody's got off today, so Eagles fans,
Yeah, it's not a good recipe. It's not a good recipe, but we'll see how it works out. Maybe the cold will keep some of the tailgating down. I'm hoping for that. That generally helps.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to stand out there in the cold for that long.
Yeah.
So
I don't know, man. Philly fans, they don't care about that crap. They're right. They'll get a coat, get a couple beers, and they're good to go. All right, John, great show, man. I will talk to you on the pregame show coming up in a little bit later on today. The game's early. It's a 3 p.m. game, so it's a weird time, but it is 3 p.m.
Very weird time. Very weird day, weird time. All day. It's Thanksgiving, and I thought yesterday was Saturday. It had a Saturday feel for me.
Yeah, it did. It did feel like a week. It felt like a Sunday to me because I knew I was coming back.
Well, plus we didn't have a show in the morning, so it felt like a Saturday to me.
Right. That's true. That's true. And then you have the game the next day. All right. I feel that. I feel that. All right, John, great show, man. I'll talk to you later on today. All right, brother?
All right. Thanks, all.
All right. Thanks, Jim. There's Johnny Mac, John McMullen joining us right here on Birds 365. He's got a long day. I'm going to let him get out of here, get to head. I'm going to talk to the great people of JAKIB Nation. We'll take some chats from all of you guys. We'll discuss it. All right, we'll discuss the game today. I feel like the Eagles are in a good spot for the game today. I think this team has areas where they don't convince me very much, but I don't think the Bears are going to come into Philly and win. I don't. A little primetime action in Philadelphia for the Bears. Are they ready for that moment? They're 8-3. Who knows what Caleb Williams will do today? We had a hilarious Eagles debate yesterday at my family Thanksgiving. It was pretty funny. And because I guess I do what I do, people like to talk about the Eagles. We were watching the Cowboys. My cousin, well, he's married to my cousin. I don't know. What does that make him if he's married to my cousin? He's just my cousin now, right? I don't know. He's married to my cousin. He's a massive Jalenite. Yeah, he loves Jalen. He's like, fire Kevin Petullo. This offense sucks only because of Kevin Petullo. Jalen Hurts is elite. And my uncle who is now his father-in-law. He says, he's like, now I'm not a football diehard, but I'm a casual viewer, and Jalen Hurts stinks. That's what he says to him. And my cousin is not happy. He's like, you don't know football. Shut up. You're way wrong. Shut up. And I'm just like, leave me out of that. Leave me out of that, please. But it's pretty funny. Pretty funny to hear what goes down at Thanksgiving. I hope everybody had a nice Thanksgiving. I do like Thanksgiving, man. I like to get with the family and hang out with the cousins, my uncle. So it was a beautiful day. Hope everybody had a great day. Hope everybody has a great holiday. And I hope everybody enjoys today. I'm sure many of you are off today, I think. I don't know. You got to tell me. I don't know how the world works with some of that crap. I work every day. It is what it is. But so I hope everybody has a great day today. I'll take some score predictions. What do you guys got? Score predictions today are what? All right. Are what? For Eagles, Bears, Black Friday matchup. Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson in Philly. It is a cold day here in Philly. All right. It is a cold day here in the city of brotherly love. All right. A little chilly, a little windy, Here's Greg. He's got 27-16 Eagles. I don't hate that score. I got 23-16 Eagles. Me and John had the same exact score. I wrote down my score. I had John spot to write down his score, and he gave me the same exact score. Bears win 17-0. This guy says that's not happening. 24-14 Keith. I'm assuming you're going Eagles there. 6-3 Eagles. I don't know why that seems more likely than it should. 27-14. All right, Sarah Jade. It's a little bit of a big win, but maybe. Dank says I always get Fridays off. Nice, Dank. Well, I got a bone to pick with you, Dank, but we'll pick that another time. It's game day. I'm not worried about that right now. 24-17, Yeppa says. All right. Blaze, good job, man. You're at work. Keep grinding. Bird, 16-9. Oh, you're going a repeat of the Lions score? That was a Lions score, right? 16-9, or was that the Packers score? No, Packers score was 10-7. Lions score was 16-9. Bruce has a repeat. 21-17 Eagles. Grizz, you're right. You're right in the ballpark of where I think this thing is going to be. All right. Here's Curtis. We'll talk about the Thanksgiving Day games yesterday, too, by the way. You cannot overstate how much our offense sucks. Every team is in this game. I feel better than when I thought Ringo, Carter, and Brown were starting, but this team inspires zero confidence. Hang in there, Curtis. I hear what you're saying, though. 29-18 Eagles. All right. 27-10. Bam has the Birds winning. 21-17. See, this is my ballpark right in here. 24-17, 23-16, 21-17, 24-21 right in there as well. It's kind of where I think the game is going to be today. All right. It's kind of where I think the game is going to be today, but we will see. All right. We will see. All right. Now let's talk real quick. I know you probably don't want to talk about this, but we got to talk about this. NFC East. Yeah. Sills will be on today, guys. 10-12. So coming up right after this. So there'll be no Zander time after 10 a.m. today. We'll end the show. We'll get right into the National Football Show, an abbreviated edition, obviously, with the 3 p.m. game, 10-12. He's going to get on. There he is in the chat. And he's going to get on Mike North, and he'll probably have me join, I assume. And then we'll have pregame show 1:30, and then we will have the halftime show, the postgame show, in the JAKIB Green Zone as well. So we got you covered. We got you covered all day, man. All right? JAKIB Sports always has you covered. Despite the suckers, the haters, and the losers who do not like JAKIB, we will continue to prevail, grow, and succeed. November right now, folks, is on pace for one of our most watched months in the history of JAKIB. All right? We are on pace for 1.4 million views. All right? And over 300,000 hours of watch time. Thank you to the great people of JAKIB Nation. Thank you to the great people of JAKIB Nation. All right? November, we're on a good pace. Thank you all for grinding and helping me through it. All right? And being here every day. Jimmy, what's up, Jimmy? Zander, that game yesterday was ref decided. Obviously, everyone saw it's being talked about everywhere. That's 2 games Cowboys have been aided and abetted. All right, I'm going to say this, all right, because I knew this was going to come up. I am not the type of guy that blames refs a lot. That was a little egregious yesterday. I mean, they're calling pass interference over and over again, man. I mean, I don't understand what the deal with that was. I mean, they called it did. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm not an official guy. I don't like to blame refs. They suck in every game. Watch every game, dude. The refs suck. It felt Jerry's world yesterday, though. It did. Now, look, that doesn't take away. The Cowboys are playing good football, man. I don't care if you guys don't like when I say it. I don't care if you get mad. Dak Prescott was the best quarterback on Thanksgiving yesterday. Dak Prescott is playing lights out right now. He still has a couple boneheaded throws where, could get picked and you see it and you're like, but here's the thing with a quarterback like that, dude, they're gunslingers. They don't second guess. They don't question when they make a throw. If it gets picked, they don't second guess themselves. They come right back out there the next drive and they start slinging it again. That's the brand of football they play. So, it's a much different brand than we play. But with those 2 receivers, they're gonna have a chance. And I'm sorry, but that defense is a different defense with Quinn Williams. It's a completely different defense with Quinn Williams. Completely different defense. Quinn Williams, Kenny Clark, Osa in the middle up there. Their edge rushers are mad, but they're getting some good production out of them. So I don't know, man. Cowboys are coming. It feels like they're not going to be able to win out, but they got who? They got Lions next week. I think that's the Thursday night game next week. So they got the Lions next week. Then they have the Vikings with J.J. McCarthy. I don't think so. Chargers, Cowboys. It's kind of a weird team. That Chargers team is so streaky. They've lost a lot of players. I don't really buy them. And then they have the Commanders and the Giants. So let's just say they go 3-2 in their last 5 with losses to the Lions and the Chargers. They'll be what? That won't be enough. They'll be 9-7-1. That won't be enough. So they basically have to go 4-1 here in their last 5, and they've won their last 3. They'd have to go 4-1 in their last 5, I think, to even have a shot. And that wouldn't even guarantee it. Is Sills from Dallas? No, Sills is not from Dallas. No, Sills played in Dallas. He that's where he signed. He signed with the Cowboys. I think in the maybe late 80s or early 90s, somewhere in that range. But yeah, so plenty of good stuff. I mean, look, guys, yesterday was great football. How about that Packers and Lions game too, man? That Packers team is weird. They're like, sometimes they look like just absolute beast, and then sometimes you're just like, I don't know what to make of that team. So they're injured. They're interesting. Lions were banged up, obviously, yesterday. They lost Amon-Ra early. I get it. They didn't look the same. I don't think Jared Goff looks the same to me this year. All right? I don't think Jared Goff looks the same to me this year. Wayne, I'm with you on this, man. I'd like to see a little bit more Bigsby. I think John takes it a little too far. I'm not asking to bench Saquon, but you need a spark, man, in the run game. I don't see any problem with getting Jalen Hurts running the ball a little bit more and getting Tank Bigsby running the ball a little bit more. To me, that makes sense. All right. Eagles historically stink in Chicago. In Chicago. We're in Philly today, so. But I do think the season series not the season series, the head-to-head matchup with these two teams is definitely slanted Bears. How about the Bears sitting at the top of the North right now? Now the Packers are right there, 8-3-1. So if the Bears lose today, they'll fall to second in the North. If the Bears win today, they will have exclusive first place again of the NFC North. How about that? That would be crazy, man. Bears top of the North after a game versus the Eagles, that would be nuts. So I don't think that'll happen. And then they play the Packers next week. So that's going to be interesting. All right. Joho says, y'all glazing the Cowboys too. I don't think we're glazing anybody, Joho. They've won 3 straight. You know, they made a couple big trades. And Joho, you can hate on them all you want. They look like a different team since they've made the acquisitions that they've made. Will they burn out? Will they win every game? Probably not, honestly. They probably don't. They probably put themselves in too much of a hole. But I don't need to lie to you. And, Joe, you don't need to lie to yourself. They're playing good football right now. The offense is humming, and the defense has gotten a lot better. I mean, that's just the reality of the Cowboys right now. Now, Eagles still are way out in front. If the Eagles lose today, though, it's going to get interesting. All right. Renzo, I completely agree with this. J-Mac seems to be all or nothing on Saquon and Bigsby. How about a 70-30? I agree completely. You need a spark. You know, I used to be a goaltender in hockey. You gave up 5 goals in the first period, man. They need a spark. You got to switch it out here. You got to switch it out, you know. Here's Brick City. What's up, Brick? Why are these conversations about the run game when last year and this year's passing is non-existent? We need the pass to open the run. Well, I don't disagree with you, but be careful. You know, people will start accusing you of everything if you say the passing game stinks. Here's Gary. No matter what you think of the Cowboys, we better hope the Eagles keep winning. 20 years without a repeat. Gary, I agree with you, man. I agree with you completely. All right, I agree with you completely. You know, and I don't disagree with Joe, who says there's maybe too much glaze on them. You know, they're 6-5-1, but they're playing a lot better right now than they did at the beginning of the year. All right, they are. They're playing a lot better right now at the beginning of the year. If the Eagles are playing, to me, worse. Now, not defensively, all right, not defensively, but I don't know. Like, my cousin who's a Jalen, but he did say it best yesterday. We were talking, and he's like, it's just a hard team to get a read on right now. And I'm like, because I was asking about what he thought of the game today. He's like, it's a tough team to get a read on. And I'm like, I agree, Thomas. It's a tough team to get a read on. So, you know, I feel like most Eagle fans feel that way. At least when I get out and I talk to Eagle fans, it feels like most fans feel that way, that it's a tough team to get a read on. They don't really know what to make of it, of what to make of the team. The offense is just basically stone cold bad. Now, my cousin thinks Kevin Patullo is problem number 1. I don't know if that's true. I think Kevin Patullo is a problem. You know, rookie play caller. I don't know what the hell you hired a rookie play caller for this offense in the first place, but they did. Z, Tank reminds me of a Jai. Wow, Blaze, I loved the Jai when he was here, man. I don't get why we can't have a 2-headed monster like the Lions. It's a fair point. I just don't think they view Tank like that, you know? I don't think they view Tank like that. But I hear what you're saying. Ajayi, I love the Ajayi, man. We traded for him at the deadline, I think, of that year, right? From the Dolphins. That's interesting. Here's Joe-Ho. Eagles def got to play better today because the Cowboys catching up. Eagles got to win today, man. It's not like a must win, but the Eagles got to win today. Here's Greg. What's up, Greg? Eagles the running game isn't just bad, it's nauseating. The worst run game I've seen the Eagles have since the early 90s. It's humiliating. Well, Greg, where are you putting it on? You putting it more on Saquon or the O-line? I've been watching, you know, these clips. People are doing a lot of these clips up, man, and you can see the offensive line. I get it. I don't think Saquon's running like he should be, but it's really hard for me to put it all on Saquon. It really is. You know, we don't pass the ball all that consistently. We don't have a complex passing game where, you know, you're moving the ball to different areas of the field. I think that's condensed on the run game. And the offensive line is hurt, banged up, not the same. It's tough for me to put it all on Barkley. I don't think it's none on Barkley, though. Anthony says, that dude Dak is the luckiest. How many dropped interceptions yesterday? Yeah, he has a lot of them. But again, Anthony, as I said, quarterbacks like Dak are going to make mistakes, man. They are going to throw picks. They are going to have those. But what they are is they're gunslingers, man. They come out, they keep throwing the ball. They trust themselves. They trust their receivers. They trust their reads. That's the way they play the game, you know. And that one interception doesn't put them into a, you know, shell. That's not what happens. Those guys come out, they gunsling. That's how their teams win games. That's what Dak is. So he's got some turnover-worthy throws, but he's also got some tremendous throws. I don't know how many yards CeeDee Lamb had yesterday, and I know I shine. It's 100%. I shine. Somebody put up a clip on Twitter. I don't know if anybody saw this. They did like a 4-minute. I retweeted it on my X account if you want to go look at it, at Zander Krause. They did like a 4-minute mashup. I think they said it was like, this is 40% of Saquon Barkley's carries on the season. So it's not the full sample size, 40%. But and he spliced it all together real quick. And you can just see Landon Dickerson, Cam Jurgens, they're getting crushed at the point of attack. Like instantly, dude. Point of attack is the right word. It's the point of attack. Right at the line, boom, they're moving right around them. And it's making things much harder for Saquon. So, Wayne says, Hurts, if you're watching it to try. Well, I agree. They're not asking him to be that type of quarterback, though. They've asked him to not throw the ball, not turn the ball over. They want to play risk averse. They want to do all these different things. It's put Jalen in a little bit of, as he worded it, in a straitjacket. I think it's put the receivers in a straitjacket. To me, it's why the receivers, Sean says they've taken a step back, or AJ's taken a step back. I think it's because of the passing game. They're not trying to move the ball downfield much, Here's the jerk. The jerk loves messing with the Eagles fans. He says, I don't mind if you throw a few picks because you're actually attempting to push the ball downfield, unlike certain winning quarterbacks in the Northeast. The jerk, that used to be the mentality, man. You're going to have a couple picks here and there. You got to live with it. But I don't know. In Philly, we've fallen in love with never turning the ball over because it's worked, I guess. Aishan says, to me, that's a stat one. Oh, 100%. Aishan, listen to this. These are Jeff Stoughlin's two descriptions, and I get it. I'm not here to bash Stoughton. He's a potential Hall of Fame position coach. He's the offensive line coach and the run game coordinator. Those are his two titles, Aishan. Offensive line coach, run game coordinator. The run game blows and the offensive line taking a step back. I mean, he's got to have some responsibility, but I think you fall more to the. I think it falls more into the, how much of those players are what they were last year, How much worse is Cam Jurgens this year than last year? How much can Jeff Stoutland make up for that? How much worse is Dickerson playing than he was a year ago where he was basically an all-pro? How much can Jeff Stoutland coach that out of him? You know what I mean? I don't know. It's a tough thing to gauge because you got to look at Stoutland, but you also look at the players and you're like, well, Landon Dickerson made that block last year. Cam Jurgens made that block last year. Landon Dickerson on these pin pull runs that they do, he got there in time last year, even when he was hurt. You guys remember when he was hurt in the playoffs and he still made the pull when he had a pull over to the right side and he made the block. I think it was in the Rams playoff game where Saquon had the long run. Like he still did it, even when he was banged up. He's slower this year. He's not getting over there. Chuck, I'm with you. O-line looks worn out. But I don't think Stoutland should be completely removed from the equation, Aishan. That's where I agree with you. Here's Arthur. The risk-averse offense is a risk to my sanity. You and me both, my friend. You and me both. I hate this risk-averse offense. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I'm not going to lie to you. I freaking hate it. Like, just let Jalen go play ball, man. Let Jalen go play ball. If it doesn't work, we'll see it. And at least we'll know. Love Stoutland, but Stout U's looking like Stout Community College. Yeah, the Stout U T-shirt sales have tanked. Mental mistakes with the penalties are the worst part. It's so true, man. Daz, where do you put that on, man? Is that lack of focus, lack of coaching there? I don't know. Players not bought in. I mean, how do you have 7 offensive penalties last week? Jerry, thank you, bro. You have the best contested catch wide receivers in the game, and you don't throw them the ball. It's amazing. They just don't give them opportunities. I mean, look, I know people hate to hear it because the Eagle fans hate the Cowboys, and I get it. But, dude, you watch the Cowboys on Thanksgiving, it's like watching a different fucking sport. It's like these dudes, I get it. We're winning. I'm not trying to sit here and, indict the Eagles. I'm just saying from a simple viewership standpoint where you watch and you're just like, Holy crap, man. We don't play football like that. Our football wins, though, so I get it. People don't care, but some do. My casual viewer uncle, he was fired up, man. My Uncle Frank, you guys think you get mad at me. You should have heard my Uncle Frank. My Uncle Frank is like watching Mahomes and Dak. He's like, these are real quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts can't do this shit. I'm like, please, Frank, don't do it to me. Don't do it to me. My Jalenite cousin was like, shut up, Uncle Frank. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. Pretty funny. Pretty funny little Thanksgiving Eagles debate. Niles, true, man. I hate the Eagles gave the Cowboys momentum. They did. They did give them a lot of momentum. My Uncle Frank is hilarious, bro. My Uncle Frank's one of the smartest guys I ever met. Not about football. He's an engineer. He's an electrical engineer. But he's one of those guys who just can dissect problems, man. So doing fast as he's with Uncle Frank. It's funny the way he words it because he's like, I am a casual viewer. I'm a casual football viewer. All right. From the casual eye, our offense sucks because of the quarterback. I'm like, Frank, it's a little more complex than that, but I hear you. All right. Right. He said, simply eye test. My cousin was not happy. He was getting a little antsy at him. But he's his father-in-law, so I guess you can't chirp him too much. All right. We're going to end the show in a couple minutes here. I want to get out of here at 57 about. It's 54 now because I got Cilio coming up, so I got to make sure I get Cilio the link and everything for his show, and we'll get him on the air. I can't wait to hear what Sills has to say today on a game day, football Friday, Black Friday. I might have to do a Saturday stream too. How are we going to have a game on a Friday and then no shows on a Saturday? Isn't that tragic? Isn't that absolutely tragic? Isn't that absolutely tragic? It is. All right. So here's Devontae. What's up, Devontae? Dotson needs to get the ball more, bro. He can get involved, at least mix it up. I like Dotson, but Devontae, you get it, man. We don't have that. We don't. I think he's just off this week, KCA. I'm not sure. You have to ask him. Devontae, we don't get our receivers involved as is, right, dude? I mean, you're expecting Dotson to get the ball a bunch? I don't know. That just feels like it's far-fetched. I like Dotson, though. I agree with your premise that he's not a bad player. All right. Take the weekend off. Nah, I can't do it, dude. I like working. I do. It's one of my favorite things to do in the world is work. I can lock in. I'm in control of my reality. I love it. Let me send Cilio his link. I got to get the hell out of here. Sills link. So Cilio's coming up right after me. How about that? How about that? We don't normally have back-to-back shows, but I kind of like it. I kind of like the greatness of Big Sills coming in right after Birds 365. All right. Hurts has to take what this team's give him. Elite dual threat, not elite passer. Well, I agree with that. Dual threat. Great dual threat. Smitty's playing, Gary. Smitty's good to go. So, in fact, Gary, we're healthier than I thought we'd be. Reed's good. Adoree Jackson is good. Whatever you think of Adoree. Smitty's good. So everybody's really good. Obviously, Lane Johnson and Makuba are going to be your two out. So, all right, guys. Love all you guys, man. Appreciate you being here on a Black Friday. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. All right. I don't know whether you're with your family, friends, whatever you were doing. I hope you had a great day. I hope you enjoyed the football that was on. I know it was two teams and maybe you guys don't like. A couple teams you don't like, but it was good football all throughout. I mean, I thought the first game was great. Lions, Packers. I thought the Cowboys, Chiefs game was a great football game. And I didn't catch a lot of the night game, to be honest with you. I didn't catch a lot of the night game. But appreciate all you guys. I'm going to get out of here. We'll be live in like 3 more minutes, all right, with the National Football Show. So let's see. We got to love you, Z. Go Cowboys. Greg, I love you, my friend. But I don't love the Cowboys. Dak's playing good right now, though. Most Eagle fans won't admit it to you. I'll admit it, Greg. It's not hard for me to admit. Cowboys playing good football right now. Defense looks good. Dak's playing great. Dak was the best quarterback yesterday on Thanksgiving, in my opinion. He was the best quarterback on Thanksgiving yesterday. Guy can throw the ball. But, all right, Greg, later, man. Appreciate all you guys. See you next time, everybody.
You've been listening to Birds 365, the destination for the passionate Eagles football fan who bleeds green. If it's Eagles football, we're talking about it. Debate inside the locker room and guests that are some of the greatest football minds from around the region. We hope you enjoyed the show. We know we had a blast. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hook up with us on social media at JAKIB Sports. See you next time on Birds 365.